This really is a very important case for the government to win, because it's really crucial in terms of the plans to push ahead with more purpose-built, larger accommodation centres for asylum seekers that can stop the government's over-reliance on hotels. We currently have 51,000 asylum seekers in hundreds of hotels right across the country at a cost of more than £6 million a day. That is unsustainable, according to Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Home Secretary Suella Braverman. So the battle today is all about the former RAF base at Wethersfield near Braintree. Plans there to house up to 1,800 asylum seekers on that particular former RAF station. The local council, local people in the village of Wethersfield and surrounding areas say it's completely inappropriate because there are no facilities. I was down there a few weeks ago. There is one very small village shop and nothing else for these young male asylum seekers to do. They would not be detained in the base. It's not a detention centre. They would be allowed to wander in and around Wethersfield and indeed go further afield. It's completely sort of unsuitable, according to those campaigners, and that's what they will be arguing in the court. But the government is effectively going to declare a national emergency today as far as the small boats crisis is concerned. This would allow them to adopt Class Q in response. So this Class Q order effectively gives the government in an emergency situation the power to overrule any objections by local planners, by local authorities, as long as the development is on a Crown estate, on government-owned land, such as this Ministry of Defence site. It'll be up to the courts, of course, whether they accept that as an argument from the government.
Pretty embarrassing for Rishi Sunak, isn't it, when one of the most outspoken opponents of this plan is his own Foreign Secretary?
Well, there's no doubt, of course, local MPs right across the country, and the Foreign Secretary is one, have very difficult decisions to make as to, whether to go with government policy, which he absolutely should do in a collective cabinet, but also with an eye to the very deep anger that there is among his own constituents. But make no mistake, this is vital for the government in this policy of trying to come up with a solution that stops this over-reliance on hotels, which have angered many, many people right across the country. Because what you have, especially in smaller communities, is sometimes the only facility in that community in the form of a hotel, which is used for weddings, funerals, other sort of public events, and of course attracts tourists and other visitors to a location, being taken out of commission, being handed over to the Home Office effectively for a year, maybe 2 years, to house these migrants. So the government knows that that is a very unpopular policy. They need to find solutions. One way of doing that is these bigger purpose-built or adapted detention, or I should say accommodation centres. They've faced such stiff opposition, though, every time they try to do this. You'll remember, Andrew and Bev, Linton-on-Ouse last year in Yorkshire, the RAF base there, a big public campaign against that, the local council threatening legal action, the government backed down. Remember the plans to put asylum seekers in Butlins holiday camps, big opposition campaigns, and the government backed down. Also, a university up in Hull, big protests again, and the government backed down. They can't keep doing this if they are to find a solution to the over-reliance on hotels.